Hello, this is the SkillCast for Tuesday, February 14th, 2017, Valentine's Day. I hope you
Happy
love us cuz
Valentine's.
I hope you love us audience because we love all one of you.
Yay. I'm really excited for tomorrow so I can buy a lot of cheap chocolate.
Looking on the bright side of an otherwise miserable and lonely existence.
I got a date. Don't talk shit.
Miserable and lonely existence. Here we are, Adam and Dan. Let's do
uh,
this.
Also, I'm really excited because I got a boom arm now. I got a new sock cover for my microphone. I got a whole new setup. I hope I'm sounding good to everyone.
I like to imagine you actually put a sock over your microphone.
I've seen people do that, and it's not good. It's too muffled.
Well, I would imagine so. It's not designed for that. Also, it would make your microphone very smelly,
Not if
uh,
it's a clean sock.
implying you have clean socks.
I have clean socks, Adam. I do laundry. Moving on to the no, not to the news, not yet. What have you been playing this week, Adam?
I really haven't been playing anything. I mean, we've basically just been doing tons of channel stuff.
We've been doing a lot of channel stuff. I've been playing one game in particular that we'll talk about because it's been pretty big. I played some of the For Honor beta.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that exists.
Yeah,
Uh,
go Knights!
Dan informed me that
Deus
there
Volt!
was, yeah, yes, Deus Volt, retake Jerusalem, etc.
Fight back the Weeb Menace!
Yeah, I was trying to bring that up when you were spouting Deus Volt memes. Is that you informed me about the Weeb wave?
Alright, basically, the way that For Honor works, for anyone who doesn't know, is there are three main factions. There are knights, there are samurai, and there are Vikings. And the three factions are constantly fighting in real time for area control over a very large map during multiplayer games. And, it updates, I think, like every 12 hours, maybe? Something like that. If you've ever played, like, PlanetSide 2, it's sort of like that.
So, there was a large influx of people playing samurai and spamming anime memes, which sounds about as great as a game can be, and is not unexpected at all. To be honest with you,
Uh,
uh,
it's just like that opening beta was. It also doesn't help that one of the characters on the samurai side is very cheap and a little overpowered at the moment.
well, there you go. That is basically kindling for the weeb fire.
But yeah, For Honor is really great. I don't know if it's really the game for me because there's a lot going on. It combines many of the aspects of sort of a MOBA game, as with like area control and stuff like that, and utilizing like creep waves, but also a lot of the aspects that are in fighting games with trying to outthink your opponent and doing footsies and mastering technicals. And also there's quite a lot of combos that are unique to each player character that you can do.
I'm told that it's kind of like playing a fighting game, except in an open space with a bunch of people.
Yeah, so like imagine like you're playing Street Fighter and like you're doing a very intense one-on-one match with someone, but then like two other guys come out of nowhere and stab you in the butt.
Well, that does not sound very fun for your butt.
Yeah, in a 3D plane, and you're trying to capture objectives.
That sounds kind of interesting. I probably will check it out because it doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah,
Uh,
for what it is, it's really good. Um, I might recommend doing it on a controller, but I can manage on keyboard if I can rebind stuff.
I would never recommend anyone play a fighting game on not PC, on a keyboard. That's what I'm
Yeah.
looking for. But that's my taste. I don't know. Some of you guys out there probably do play it on a keyboard, but I, you know, I would always say MMOs never play it on a controller.
Mm.
Fighting games never play it on a keyboard.
Yeah. The main aspect of the game that I think makes it really unique is when you go into I forget what they call it in the game, but it's like you go into like a dueling state. You go into like a one-on-one combat state, and you hold your sword in either in the top position, the left position, or the right position. If someone like attacks you at the top position and you have your sword in the top position, you will block it.
That is very creative. I appreciate that it's not just button mashing nonsense.
No, not like fighting games. Anyway. So like it's a lot of like shifting your positions, trying to psych out your opponent, trying to outthink them, trying to anticipate what they're doing, as well as mastering combos and utilizing teamwork, because it's mostly a team-based game.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know, it sounds worth checking out. I just haven't because I don't know. I have other priorities at the moment than to try For Honor.
It's a $60 title. It's a AAA title.
Is it? You think it's worth $60?
I think it is. If you enjoyed the gameplay, I would like recommend anyone to like try it out first if you can find a way. I'm pretty sure the open beta ended, but I think there might be like demo stuff or something somewhere. But
open beta like 2 days.
It was like 3 days.
Oh, okay. That's 50% longer than I thought.
But yeah, it's pretty good. It's just I don't know if the gameplay will appeal to everyone.
Well, let's get onto a much more light topic. Felix Adolf PewDiePie, no Nazi sympathizer.
You gave him 2 nicknames.
I can't pronounce his last name. I'm sorry, Felix. I just can't. Your last name is beyond me. But no, PewDiePie, who, if you don't know who PewDiePie is, just get off YouTube. He was dropped by Disney, or by his Disney subsidiary, specifically Maker Studios, because of a video he did that we commented on a while back, lightly, where he was on a website called Fiverr, where you can pay people all over the world about $5 to do various things, and he wanted to prove how ridiculous Fiverr is by paying them to post stuff like Hitler did nothing wrong, and like jump and laugh and stuff. And people actually did. And of course, Fiverr banned him for that, but it was a ironic comedy video, you know. He's the biggest YouTuber ever, so whatever.
Yeah.
But Disney, or their subsidiary specifically, did not appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if anybody's not aware, Maker Studios works with PewDiePie to make a YouTube Red show called Scare PewDiePie. And they opted to not do a season 2 because of this video.
That and a few other things, like the whole, like, YouTube's trying to shut me down because I'm white thing. That also didn't go over very well.
Yeah, basically it is a drop because of his personal politics, which there's a couple angles you can go at this. You can say that it's a very cheap move by Disney, or you could think that, oh, you know, they have a right not to support anybody that they don't want to, which is true. It's like it could be that it was politically motivated. It could just be that they didn't want to associate with anybody who was openly political or who was too edgy.
Yeah, Disney's very notorious for trying to maintain a certain image, but them trying to maintain that image gives a much different image.
Yeah, so people may be tempted to think that, oh, you know, Disney, maybe they're like totally social justice-y. That may not necessarily be the case.
It's actually very not. Very lightly going to brush on politics right now, but I believe the current CEO of Disney is very, very pro-Trump.
I was not aware of that, but that's interesting to hear. I'll have to look into that later.
Yeah,
but
I may be talking out my ass on that, but I think like this, I've seen a couple of articles. I need to look into it more. Now, I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing, but that's what I'm aware of.
So Uh, that notwithstanding, this whole PewDiePie drama, if you want to call it that, because I mean it's PewDiePie, is more or less overblown. It's basically just a situation of the number one YouTuber has been doing a bunch of really edgy jokes and
Mm-hmm. Which
a
he's done in the past.
yeah, I mean, it's not like he suddenly became edgy. He's always pretty much been the same. And he was dropped by a studio he was working for that just happens to be a subsidiary of Disney because they didn't really want to do business with somebody who was doing edgy humor, I guess.
Yeah. Uh, I don't know. It's it's Disney. It's maker studios right to like keep or drop whatever they want to do. That's just business. And whatever the reasoning is, I don't think it's necessarily a good reasoning, but it's their reasoning. They can do it for whatever. Um, Personally, I was not exactly excited to excited for Scare PewDiePie season 2. Not that I actually saw the first season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to subscribe to YouTube Red. It's not going to freaking happen because there's nothing worth paying for that subscription to get. I
Yeah,
don't.
at least maybe not right now. We'll see how it goes when they add more content. I'm looking forward to the show Jesse Cox doing with Dan Harmon.
What's that show?
Basically, they're making like a comedy show that is focusing on like this group of like ragtag pro gamers and like in the inside of like how like toxic that whole crazy culture is. But it's like very
Uh,
lighthearted.
God, I really hate people who treat gaming as if it's some sort of serious culture, almost like Chinese culture. Well, I have gamer culture. It's like just fuck, go kill yourself. Uh,
GG.
what?
Anyway,
I heard that.
so yeah, I feel bad for Felix, but at the same time I don't because I'm pretty sure he made like $14 million last year.
Yeah, Felix is fine.
He's
Like,
fine. Like I'm pretty sure like if he lost any subscribers, it was probably a blip at most. And people are still watching him. He's still making videos. He doesn't seem overly upset by it.
no, if Felix is in that position where he can do whatever he fucking wants. YouTube wouldn't ban him. I think I said this before. YouTube wouldn't ban him if he had sex with someone live on air. He is the
They probably
king
pulled
of
the
YouTube.
video.
They'd probably pull the video, but they would never touch PewDiePie himself because he basically is YouTube.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
a very prominent person on YouTube. I don't know if like he can literally do no wrong, but he's in a comfortable position, and anybody who's like trying to like shit on him and stuff, it just reminds me of that GIF. I believe it's from Zombieland, where the guy's just like crying into $100 bills.
yeah, even if PewDiePie did get, that's the thing. YouTube, no matter what the execs think at Google, who own YouTube, they would never touch PewDiePie, his channel at least. But even if they did, he would just go off into the sunset and live as a multimillionaire for the rest of his life. It doesn't really matter what you do to PewDiePie at this point.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good.
So, Felix, not that does not mean that his content is amazing because he's successful, but I do think he's a legitimately cool guy. And he tells edgy jokes like a huge number of people do. He's just popular and also does that.
Hey Adam,
What?
why did the little girl drop her ice cream cone?
Why is that, Dan?
'Cause the bus hit her.
That's just an anti-joke.
Well, it's still edgy.
Yeah, it is edgy. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, Felix. Sorry that happened to you. I guess
Yeah.
you'll never fucking watch this video.
Ah, it's like he can still do his own YouTube Red show. Just I don't know, maybe even Maker Studios might do another thing with him. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know.
I don't,
You know what?
the
It's
political climate's a little weird at the moment.
Yeah, it's a very unstable climate, which, again, it keeps dipping into game culture because, unfortunately, it's permeating everything right now.
Oh, so what else? What else do we have in the news? Let's see here. Oh, this one I really want to talk about. So, Steam Greenlight. For any of you who know, Steam has a program called Steam Greenlight, which basically allows for indie developers to showcase their game on Steam, and that if they get enough people to vote for them, it will be available on Steam for purchase. This was implemented back in 2012, and it has been very badly abused and exploited, and there's a lot of corruption involved. And we've gone on this a bunch. Jim Sterling's gone in on it a lot. He's made like 2 segments just devoted to Steam Greenlight. Uh, Man, we bring up Jim Sterling a lot.
Well, I mean, you do. I
Yeah.
like his some of his content, but you seem to be quite infatuated with him and Total Biscuit. I like to think of them as Total Biscuit and much more Total Biscuit, if you get my drift.
Anyway, so Steam Greenlight brought in 2012. It's not been very good. Just to give you an idea, I think 40% of all of the video games available on Steam for purchase were uploaded through Greenlight in 2016.
Yeah, Steam Greenlight it is a system where I could talk about the checks and balances, but there would
There are
have to
none.
be checks and balances for me to discuss them.
Yeah.
Um,
So, in an announcement, Valve has said that they want to move away from Greenlight. They're going to be dropping it. Instead, they're going to be doing something called Steam Direct. And uh, let me see if I can really figure out exactly what's going on with Steam Direct, because a lot of this is in the conception stage, even on their side. But the main principle behind it is they're going to have a more thorough application process to actually, have your game showcased and put directly onto Steam. And they're equating it to like if you were going to set up a bank account with a lot of important information and everything. The key point that everyone is bringing up, however, is they're going to include a upfront fee on part of the developer to upload their game onto Steam. Now, they're not sure where this fee is going to be. Currently, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong on this, that Steam Greenlight already has an upfront fee of $100.
I believe so.
Yeah. Steam Direct, they're not sure where they want it to be, and are asking for community feedback and suggestions, but they're considering it in the ballpark from anywhere from $100 to $5,000.
$5,000 would significantly reduce the number of games that get put on Steam.
Yeah. And people are like, really? $5,000? You're thinking of going that high? And Valve is also like reason that the upfront fee, they might pay it back over time as like the game sells or not. It's like there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts going on, a lot of speculation. Much of this is still in conception, but Steam has said they're going to do away with Greenlight and replace it with Steam Direct.
I feel like as as few checks and balances as Steam Greenlight had, the idea of charging developers $5,000 to put a game on Steam is disgusting. It's basically going to, I don't know if I don't think it'll destroy Steam, but it's going to really really badly damage Steam.
It's going to hurt the indie scene very much, which is the whole point of the Greenlight. I mean, there are so many pretty good games out there that are made on like little shoestring budgets from like one guy. I don't know. It's like I want to say Undertale, but I don't actually know how much money Undertale got kickstarted. But so many.
Undertale got kicked. I think the goal was about 50 grand, and it ended up getting like 500 grand or something.
Yeah, but you can understand, like, even like a game that's being kickstarted or crowdfunded or even self-funded. At most, like, we're dealing with like a couple tens of thousands of dollars. So to add another $5,000 on top of that just to publish onto Steam is very harsh.
Especially if it doesn't do financially very well.
Mm-hmm.
It basically ensures that the only games that will be put on Steam will be ones that get significantly more development, or have significantly higher budgets, and there are plenty of games that can be made and made decently for much less than 5 grand. Uh, so you would cut out a lot of the garbage, but you would also create a barrier of entry
Mm-hmm.
that is unacceptable, really, for a
The
platform like Steam.
the key here is trying to find the right balance. Uh, I don't know. What would you say between 100 and $5,000?
I'd say probably 2 to 500.
Mm. I think I'd maybe go just a tiny bit higher, maybe like 500 to 700.
Yeah, it has to
Especially
be.
like if it gets paid back.
Yeah, if it gets paid back, then you can go higher. My goal is to cut out the games where people just buy Unity assets
Mm-hmm.
and then just sell them pretty much
Mm-hmm.
in
And
fucking
then
FPS Maker or something.
yeah, and then just sue everybody who calls them out on it.
Yeah, like to cut out the whatever fucking studio's suing Jim Sterling.
Which one isn't? Haha.
Um, but to allow people who actually are trying to something, it creates a barrier that's just high enough that you have to jump over it.
Yeah. I'm in favor of the whole idea because even if it's not great, it's still something, which at the moment is something we don't have.
At the moment, there's virtually no barrier. So the way I would compare it is right now Steam Greenlight is basically like just having a house with no door. And yeah, it's a house with no fucking door, and all you have to do is put a door. But Valve wants to put like the Trump wall around it. So that's what I'm saying is like you don't have to put up like laser guided shark missiles and trained gorillas with knives. Just put a frickin' door. It creates enough of a barrier that people who want to sell you junk are going to have to jump through a few hoops to do it. And a lot of people are going to opt out.
Yeah.
If it's not easy money, they're going to opt out.
I think the issue with Valve is the same issue we see with YouTube. And it's that despite the fact that they are crazy rich, they want to automate everything. They want as few human oversight on any of the ongoing issues as possible, and that's creating issues.
It's incredibly lazy.
It is.
It's the height of laziness to not hire employees to deal with this shit.
Some
Uh,
basic quality control.
it's it's pretty unacceptable. I mean, honestly, Gabe, if you can take a second away from, not making Half-Life 3, I would appreciate if you would, not do that.
You know, it's the one criteria a game needs to get on Greenlight besides the fee.
A pulse.
Kind of, it needs to run. That's it.
Some of them don't even fulfill that requirement.
Some of them don't run well, but like if like the game will launch, you can get on. But that doesn't necessarily mean you made a good game. The Slaughtering Grounds ran.
Yeah, it did. It ran right into the ground. The slaughtering ground. Uh,
Ugh.
it's like a metaphor for
Ugh.
the entire thing. But so it's really just it's not about keeping out all the garbage because to do that would not be worth it. It's more about creating a filter that's reasonable.
Yeah. We just need some quality oversight. And honestly, from Valve, that is not asking much. It's asking very, very little. It's asking for the bare minimum.
It's asking for decent human human decency. That's a better way to put it.
Valve is like they own the largest, most successful digital distributing platform for video games. They have the money.
They do, but we're talking about a bunch of people who, as far as I'm told, they pretty much work on whatever they want to work on, and then they
Mm-hmm.
just slide their chairs over to other groups that are working on stuff. It's a very lazy company filled with lazy people. I mean, let's be honest. And it's not like I'm particularly not lazy, but
Mm.
I mean, come on, guys. You have the money. Hire somebody who's not too lazy to do it.
It's Valve is. I wouldn't call them lazy, although I will in this scenario, because like overall the company like they can be very energized when they want to be. I remember like when they were setting up for the first international for the Dota 2, and I forget where that was in Germany, but like it was the first time that a video game competition was going to have $1 million grand prize. It was going to be a big thing. They didn't hire anybody to like set up. So like it was just like all of like the usual Valve employees doing like running the wires and selling tickets and operating the drink stand and everything. And it's just like you'd be buying tickets from some guy and you wouldn't realize he's the guy who wrote the script for Half-Life 2.
I don't see the point of that. I mean, are they that stingy about money?
Not anymore, because like it's become such a big thing. But like this was the first time no one had ever done something on that scale before, at least money wise. Uh, but yeah, I like you, Valve, when you make games. Every other time you get a little wishy washy.
Yeah, you're pretty bad at running things, I'll tell you that much.
Uh, so yeah, hope Steam Direct will cut down on some of the clutter.
Well, we'll see. I mean, if it cuts down too much, that's a problem too.
Anyway, in other news, I only just found this article. Activision Division cuts jobs after parent company Activision Blizzard sets new earnings records.
I heard vaguely about that, but that's not that surprising.
Activision Publishing enacts a round of layoffs that reportedly affected Infinite Warfare developer Infinity Ward. See here. The move is going to be done as a response to the accelerating transition to digital, including opportunity for digital add-on content. Kotaku was the first to report on the story. Blah, blah, blah. It would really help if I read articles ahead of time.
It would help. It would be helpful. Like in other news, hold on, let me find the article.
Job losses at Activision Publishing reportedly amounted to 5% of its total workforce. Woo. Blizzard Entertainment, the division that developers and publishing games like Overwatch and World of Warcraft, etc., were apparently unaffected. Kotaku reported that 20 people lost their jobs at Infinity Ward, which made 2016's Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. During an earnings call yesterday, Activision management explained that the game failed to meet expectations in part because the space setting did not resonate with some players.
I just smacked my mic. Sorry, guy.
The job losses at Activision Publishing followed yesterday's positive earnings report from Activision Blizzard. The company reported record full-year revenue of $6.6 billion, up from 42% from $4.6 billion. whereas Activision Blizzard revenue from in-game content amounted to $3.6 billion in 2016. Activision publishing lineup for 2017 is small compared to previous years. Right now, the company's only confirmed games are Destiny 2 and a new Call of Duty game that goes back to the franchise's roots. And they will also not be releasing a new Skylanders this year, which is a first.
What shall we do without that worthless piece of shit game?
I'm really surprised that Infinite Warfare did not sell as well.
What, Call of Duty?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I'm surprised. I mean, at this point, I think everybody is tired of Call of Duty. Annual releases are really, really bad.
They're hard to keep fresh, but everything I've been hearing about that Call of Duty was it's really good. But apparently it didn't sell good enough. Let's see here.
Maybe it was too much of a departure or something.
Maybe. I mean, the whole thing, they're going back to their roots means they're probably going to do another World War II game, which could be good. We haven't seen one in a while.
Yeah, the last one was Call of Duty 3. God, it's been forever.
It's been a while. The main thing to take away here is that Activision's doing some layoffs because some games have underperformed, even though they probably made the company a buttload of money anyway. But not the Blizzard division. They're still sitting pretty.
Yeah, I mean, Legion's been doing well, so.
Legion's doing well. Overwatch is doing well. Hearthstone, I think, is still doing well.
I think it is. It's just that there's not been any Hearthstone news that I've really cared about lately.
Yeah, we're both a little tapped out on it. Hey, tapped out, get it?
Yeah. Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for Switch, and I guess for Wii U as well, because it is actually still coming out for Wii U. We'll have DLC first of all, but it will have a season pass, which it's weird to think of that for a Nintendo game, but
for a Legend of Zelda game, yeah.
Welcome to current year, folks.
Current year, where Nintendo will give you a season pass for Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened.
I don't think so.
So yeah, there will be a season pass for $20 or 18 euros. No, that's 18 pounds. That's all right. I get the euro and pound symbol mixed up. Anyway, the expansion pass will include, on March 3rd, which is when the game launches, 3 new treasure chests. And they will contain useful items, including a shirt with the Switch logo. And in summer, they will have the first DLC pack, which adds the Cave of Trials challenge mode, a new hard mode, and additional map features. I don't know what those will be. And then in holiday of 2017, it will include a second DLC pack, which has a new original story, a new dungeon, and additional challenges on top of those mentioned before. So, typical season pass, but for the first time ever, Zelda.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know, it's what kind of DLC could we expect from Breath of the Wild? New dungeons?
Well, it did say a new dungeon, but you should keep in mind in Legacy Zelda news, or in Legacy Zelda history, that Majora's Mask. God damn it! I'm so mad with myself because it's 4:21. I was gonna ask you what time it was at 4:20.
Oh yeah, it is. Missed your opportunity.
Yeah, I missed my opportunity. So in Legacy Zelda history, Majora's Mask, for anybody who does not know, was originally intended to be Ura Zelda, a quote-unquote expansion pack for Ocarina of Time. What was actually going to be the case, I believe, was the Nintendo 64 was going to have a second device attached to it called the Nintendo 64 DD or disk drive. And you were going to get an expansion pack through that for Ocarina of Time. But Aonuma, I believe it was Eiji Aonuma, went up to Miyamoto and said, instead of doing that, let me make a new Zelda game entirely. And Miyamoto said, okay, but you've got to make it in a year.
Oh boy.
And what?
Said, oh boy.
Yeah, so he did. He recycled a lot of assets from Ocarina of Time, but he made Majora's Mask, which is kind of like a DLC, a really large DLC for Ocarina of Time.
Majora's Mask was made in a year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ocarina of Time was released in 1998. Majora's Mask was released in 1999. It's a shorter game. It reuses a lot of assets.
That being said, like, a lot of people consider it one of the best Zeldas.
Yeah, it's surprising. It's probably one of the only times you can ever say that a game made with a bunch of recycled assets in a year is one of the best games.
Although, funny enough, it's like the one game I know of that doesn't actually have Zelda in it.
Yeah, a lot of that was because it was designed... I think it was designed with a smaller budget, obviously, than Ocarina of Time. So it was always intended to be a side story. It was originally referred to as Zelda Gaiden, which means side story. Or something like that. So it is literally just supposed to be a side story. It's kind of like Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it feels so different from other Zeldas.
Huh. I learned something today.
Yeah, that's information for Dan. And for anybody who's watching who does not know that. So it's not that surprising that they would make additional content for a Zelda game, but I believe this is the first time they've actually introduced DLC to Zelda.
Well, in this digital age where everything is done online, even if you actually buy the physical copy disc, you're still going to have to download updates and such. It's, it's bound to happen. It's just weird to see it actually happen to this long-running franchise from Nintendo.
It's almost like seeing... what would be a good example?
Loot boxes in Pokemon.
Yeah, loot boxes in Pokemon would be another thing.
Which it could happen.
Or Nintendo games on phones and Android and iPhone.
Which I think will probably happen because the mobile market in Japan is very big.
Actually, if you want to be technical, it already is happening.
Yeah.
Sort of. Super Mario Run. Pokemon Go, yeah. And I believe Fire Emblem has a game.
Oh, yeah, Fire Emblem Heroes. Ugh.
Yeah. Obviously, phone games are not ideal, but Nintendo and other franchises probably will make forays into that market more and more over time. And eventually the difference between phone gaming, PC gaming, console gaming probably won't be that big.
We'll see. I still have my issues with mobile gaming, mostly just because touch controls are garbage.
They are, but who knows? Maybe in the future, touchscreen technology will get so good that your controls will be perfect.
Maybe, but it's like my fingers are still fat.
That they can cut off your hand and replace it with a robot hand that's better.
They just cut off my pinky and replace it with a Nintendo stylus, TM.
Yeah, they just cut off your hand and replace it with a Nintendo Power Glove.
It's called the Wii Fingy.
The Wii Fingy? Jesus Christ, that is the most horrible... It's like you had a contest and that won for most horrible name.
So...
That's what it would be like if I invented the Fing longer.
This next bit, not really news because I'm kind of out of stories, but I thought it was interesting. There was a survey done with uh, the U.S. workforce and everything. I think it was probably done with the Census Bureau. And it's like, you want to know how much video game developers make on average in the U.S.?
How much is a bag of peanuts worth?
The average developer in 2015 made about $97,000
Average.
on average. There's a lot of outliers here, but that average is even higher in California, where I think most games are still done, at least here in the States.
Yeah, that would be in California or Washington
Yeah, because that's where Bethesda is.
and ArenaNet. But so 97 grand. Fuck.
On average in 2015. In California, that's kind of up to 1,000 and no, it's how do I talk number? 113,000.
You ever wonder why Steam Greenlight is filled with crap? There you go. Apparently, proverbial crime pays.
Oh, and this is going over 2,250 developers in in locations in over 50 states in the District of Columbia. There are about 526 publishers in 44 states, with a total workforce coming to around 65,500 people working in the video game industry. And this covers everything from game design to programming to visual arts to audio production to quality assurance to people in the legal division, etc., etc., etc.
Oh, all right. All I can figure, to be honest with you, is that there must be a couple people making a lot of money,
And a lot of people not.
yeah, to counterbalance the peanut gallery, literally.
uh,
Uh,
yeah, this is all averages, by the way. And this also probably doesn't necessarily take into account many smaller indie developers. I think this is only with the top publishers.
Keep in mind, folks, if you got a company of 2 people and one of them's making $1 million, the other one's not making any money, they make an average of 500 grand.
Yeah, they're too rich.
Yeah,
Fired the poor one.
exactly. That'll make the average double. Which I think is the logic some real life people use.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting because, hold on, I'm getting my soapbox.
Oh boy.
Yeah, performance matters because no one else is talking about it. And again, there's a lot of discussion about actors versus developers and their earnings and everything. But it's not about actors versus developers. You should be supporting both. The whole issue is actually with publishers. And I don't even know how much they make, which is probably a lot more, especially with the top AAA ones.
I can only imagine how much money companies like EA make.
Or the top people in EA.
I mean, they're probably. I always imagine that they would actually be in chairs petting cats.
But you never see their faces.
Yeah, you never see their faces. Whenever you go to talk to them, they're always facing out the window opposite of the door.
And it's always dark.
It's always dark, except for one streak of light that goes across the right side of their face, and you can kind of make out some facial features, but they don't ever actually turn in your direction. So it's kind of like they're speaking to you from the shadows.
I'm trying to remember who, I think he was the CEO of EA Electronic Arts. And then he not so much quit, but he got another job being the CEO of the Coca-Cola company.
Oh wow, that must have been a hard transition for him.
But yeah, you can imagine gosh, dang, you are very well off.
Fucking CEO lives matter, man. Respect.
Reminds me of a bit from The Simpsons where it's just the poor CEO of our company. He was only able to get out when the company went under with only 17 million. It's
God.
he's retired in the south of France.
he can only afford to eat caviar every other day. God, he might even have to sell his solid gold toilet for a solid silver one.
But yeah, I'm just hammering on that performance matters drum because no one else is. I think we went over it the other week where I brought up that like this is the second largest acting strike in SAG-AFTRA history.
And don't worry, because Dan will keep bringing it up until it's the first biggest one.
If it gets that far, I might make a video on it. I keep saying that, and I don't plan anything out, and then nothing happens. But I might.
Yeah, that is the story of our life.
It is the story of a girl
Who cried a river and drowned the whole world.
Wish
Though
she
she
wouldn't
looked
do
so
that.
sad in photographs. Okay. just spoken word, the whole song.
But yeah, I do like video game developers because these are the people who make games.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I know we're not supposed to mention, I just can't stop thinking about that one guy.
Allude a little more.
The guy who you argued with on Twitter.
Oh yeah, that guy. Fuck that guy.
Such a dick.
He's such a dick. I know, it's like no one ever follows me, so I can talk about some things, but like I keep getting on little Twitter fights with people who are just flat wrong.
I just
I
kind of wonder what what exactly is their reasoning behind why performance matters is bad.
I, the main concept most people kind of are portraying is people take issue mostly with the wording of the strike because the voice actors clearly are trying to upsell themselves to show their importance because they're fighting for something important. So they're like say things like these games need us, and people get a little iffy on the need part.
It seems like they're dismissing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Based on not very much, based on how much they don't like the wording. It's like tone policing.
It is. For the most part, I've not seen anybody who's been against the strike who didn't have their facts straight. People keep going on about like how like it's not a safety issue. It is a safety issue. You can't scream for 4 hours without damaging your throat. You can't do frickin' martial arts and gymnastics and swinging from rafters to do motion capture without a stunt coordinator without getting injured.
I think it's a lot of people just don't really know what voice acting is like.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're just like, they figure, oh, you have to talk into a microphone. Do you need your diaper changed?
Adam, you nearly blew out your voice doing that voice.
Oh, the fucking Undyne Batman?
Yeah, because like you were unprepared for doing that voice for that long, and it wasn't that long.
I am the darkness. Well, it's just it makes you sort of start to lose consciousness because you have to exhale so much.
Yeah, and people have passed out. People have thrown up. People have bled from the throat. People have gotten surgery of the throat because of these bad conditions.
I think it's the same subsect of people who, when you mention Major League Gaming, they'll be like, gaming, sport, stupid weeaboo, kill yourself. Or something like that. And I, to some extent, am sympathetic to those people. But it's ridiculous to think that Major League Gaming has no merit at all.
Yeah. It's a competition. There is skill involved. It's not athletic. I would not consider them athletes, but I would consider it sporting.
If chess is a sport.
Yeah, chess is a sport, poker's a sport, but, athleticism isn't involved.
Yeah, we're not saying that they are having similar hardships to like a basketball player. We're not stupid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're not stupid in that way.
But yeah, I just really like the voice acting community and the people in it because God damn it, they're just such nice people.
Well, because you have to be when you're a voice actor because you're basically like an actor, but one who's been told we don't really like the look of your face. we like the voice alone.
You got a face for radio.
Yeah, I feel like that must be a prerequisite to be told before you go into voice acting.
But I mean, like if you've like seen some voice actors, hubba hubba, holy hell.
Yeah, obviously some of them do break that stereotype I just made up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, like
But
the guy I take lessons from. Everyone, go like Google image search this guy, Crispin Freeman. He is handsome as fuck.
he sounds like Morgan Freeman's like brother if he had like more soul. Let's see.
Yeah.
Crispin Freeman. He looks like a character that I know I cannot figure out. He looks like a character I've seen. I'll figure it out after this recording when it'll piss me off I didn't remember it.
Yeah, and I surprised Adam the other day by letting him know that he did the dub for Alucard in Hellsing.
Oh yeah, he did do that, didn't he? I watched the dub of Hellsing Ultimate. I know, kill myself. But I didn't feel like reading subtitles at the time. I'd never seen Hellsing at all. Maybe I'll give my thoughts on it later. That's not for this. But yeah, apparently he was the voice. And
Yeah,
I gotta say, Crispin, if you ever watch this because you want to see how bad Daniel has failed during your lessons,
hi.
I will say that your voice was excellent for what is otherwise a not very good character. He's just an edgy mess of a character. But yeah.
Also, I have to say congrats to him just because he recently landed a role doing a role he's been pursuing for a long time as Martian Manhunter.
Oh, I guess he really wanted that role for some reason, but good job.
Yeah, he did. He wanted to do that for like a while, but like traditionally, when people do Martian Manhunter, it usually goes to someone who's a big black guy most of the time, just because they have that much deeper register going on.
It goes to the Old Spice black man, basically.
Fucking Terry Crews. His Martian Manhunter. He'd be screaming all the time.
Yo, check out my Mars powers!
Oh.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is somebody comment and tell me what the deal is with Martian Manhunter. I mean, he's Martian, right? He's not like a superhero among Martians. He's just a Martian. Do all Martians have superpowers? So he's just a normal guy?
Oh man, if you think like that's weird, you need to watch Young Justice because like Miss Martian, oh boy, like she has a whole different thing going on because like she's like a rare breed of Martian, I think. She's like an albino.
Fucking albino Martian, really?
Yeah, but she can also change her features just like Martian Manhunter can. So like she hides like what her true form is. This was like a big thing in the first season.
I don't know, man. It just sounds so dumb.
It's Adam, these are superheroes that have been going on for fuck's sake. Superman's 75 years old, if not older.
Yeah, I know they're relics of a more primitive era of character development. Because Superman, he's if you look at him on paper, he's such a dumb character.
I mean, the different iterations of Superman over time have been weird. Remember that time? I think it was in the first Superman movie. He erased Lois Lane's mind by kissing her.
Yeah, that's the thing about Superman. Throughout all his years, especially during the Golden Age, he's just had powers that made no sense just for plot convenience because it wasn't cliche back then. This is before a lot of this was before
a lot of it's just been overdone.
Yeah, like there've been a lot of storytelling improvements over the past century, and Superman was around for a lot of them, and he probably caused a lot of them.
I wouldn't be
Like,
surprised. Yeah.
the idea that characters should not just have any power necessary to complete a story.
Yeah. Also, shout out Crispin Freeman. He did Superman. Yeah. Okay.
But in what? Superman's been done like 700
That's
times.
true. I believe it was
More
for
than...
one of the Justice League video games.
Oh, well, good job.
Yeah. Clap, clap, clap.
Like, not that I like Superman because he's kind of neat, but it, he's a relic of his time even nowadays.
Yeah, he's pretty much the quintessential superhero of all time. But at the same time, we need to do things to him to make him unique from others.
Yeah, I guess the best way to put it is that he is the generic superhero.
Yeah, which is also funny because like he's also considered the strongest because of that.
Well, because nowadays people make superheroes much more down to earth and
Or
niche.
or at least give them a very particular flaw. Whereas Superman, it's just kryptonite most of the time. Or
yeah,
magic.
Superman is usually kryptonite or magic. I've seen a lot of like who would win arguments with Superman, not just the meme Goku one. And now people do the like Saitama versus Superman. It's like,
Does he punch him?
does he punch him? His name is One Punch Man. God, I love that troll argument because it's like that's not even consistent in his own series.
No, it's not.
But
One
people still
serious punch.
Yeah, people still say like, "Oh, he's called One Punch Man." It's like that's not even true in his own series. So
yeah. Well, one thing I like with superheroes going on right now is we're seeing the return of a lot of lesser known superheroes. Like I know like Blue Beetle comes up a lot. Booster Gold is coming up a lot.
Snowflame.
Something I would really like to see like a movie of or just like an animated feature of would be the League of Losers.
Is that like the C team of villains?
No, it's like the F team of heroes.
Oh god.
Basically what happened, this was a Marvel thing. And this hyper powerful warlord from very, very far in the future, like thousands and thousands of years, traveled back in time to current year and just destroyed the Avengers in like just like overnight. Just because like he knew all of their tactics and battles and weaknesses and everything from historical records. So just bam, take out Thor, bam, take out Spider-Man, bam, take out Iron Man. And like he just did it so easily and he conquered the world. What he wasn't expecting were the people who were not remembered in historical articles at all. So just the most least known superheroes got together, and because he didn't know what any of them were capable of, they were able to defeat him and destroy his a means of time travel. So now they are the only heroes in the world, and they're known as the League of Losers.
That sounds an extreme amount. Not entirely, but it sounds very thematically similar to a movie that you might remember called what was it? Not the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It's a different thing. It's a very similar name. I can't remember what it was. It was a movie about. To give you an example, it had Ben Stiller was one of the heroes.
Mystery Men.
Mystery Men. Yeah, that was it. Mystery Men. Anybody remember Mystery Men from the early 2000s?
Yeah.
With Ben Stiller as Mr. Furious, and his only power was to get angry. And the one chick who had a clear bowling ball with her dad's head in it, or her dad's skull in it, not his severed head.
It was the shovel guy.
Yeah, the shovel guy. Like, he used to say that God gave me a gift. I can shovel well. I can shovel very well.
And the guy who threw forks was known as the Blue Raja, but he only wore green.
Yeah, that was his powers. He threw forks.
And he did it pretty good.
And I think my favorite character is the one who can turn invisible, but only if nobody looks at him.
Nobody's looking at him.
God,
we need to movie night.
Yeah, we need to movie night that.
Oh God.
So yeah, that reminds me of that.
We've been going on about superheroes for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, that fuck the SkillCast. Let me explain something for the one viewer that watches the SkillCast.
Hi.
Yeah, hey, Crispin Freeman. Uh, so the SkillCast is a news segment where we cover stuff that is mostly not news. So welcome to the SkillCast.
To be fair, it's been a fairly weak news week.
Yeah, but we say that every week.
Well, last week was pretty good.
What? I don't even remember what was last week.
I don't remember either. Anyway, it's like, you wait for a bus, none shows up for an hour, then like 5 show up at once.
Yeah, that's the way it is with video game news. It's mostly a lot of stuff that the average viewer only marginally cares about some of it, but occasionally there's some big controversy. A PewDiePie thing was the closest thing to a real controversy, but even that doesn't matter at all.
Not really. And mostly the Steam Greenlight, but again, a lot of that's speculation still at this point. But
yeah, I mean, if it was actually $5,000, that would be much more important to talk about instead of just sort of shoot the shit over.
But yeah, we've been going on a little over an hour now. I think it's time to wrap things up. I think I might have a date for this Valentine's Day. This is the sound I make when I'm putting on my little Poindexter bow tie.
Yeah, I honestly, Dan, knowing you for as long as I have, I wouldn't doubt if you actually had one.
I do have a bow tie. I used it for my headshots.
Point taken.
Yeah. Guess what color it is?
Rainbow.
Baby blue.
Close enough. So, for all of us here at SkillTree, and so that Dan can get on his date with his waifu, SkillTree, signing out.
Happy Valentine's.